see her, she modest. I know two things, a robber will not prosper. And any man harm me and my aunt, I'm gon' meet the doctor. Cause this life is warfare, it's not an easy walk. Been watching my people die so you can miss me with that love talk. My UPK soldiers, any man try to cross your path, make him regret it. What that means? Fall on his ass. Comparing me to you really ain't no contest. Lonely one west. Say what? Lonely one west. This for those who thinking we ain't ready for. Tell them back up. I'm about to drop something heavy for. Go to ground, 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 go to ground. It's all about that warfare, boy. Give ground, give ground, give ground, back up, give ground, give ground, give ground, back up, give ground, give ground. It's all about that warfare, boy. Take ground, 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 take ground. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down. Take ground, take ground, take ground, take ground, take ground, take ground, take ground. My soldiers take ground till I'm stand down, boy.
You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they'd rather link a chick tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms, never getting treatment. Something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream alike. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, putting work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love they reflection, no matter what the complexion. We got a common connection, a part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every vice. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody say that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price, so who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy, it get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nobody a domino. So what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical, guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the
Shalom Israel. Let's clap it up, baby. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. Hey, fingers. Fat fingers. Let's clap it up. Let's clap it up, baby. Yeah, once again, this is Tuesday night. This is Brotherhood class, boy. Ain't nothing like the Brotherhood of the Isupk.
Right.
And we just want to take some time to say we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, all New York, under the commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is the so-called blacks, so-called Spanish and natives are the true Jews of the Bible, and the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Tonight is Brotherhood class. And what we always say, Brotherhood is synonymous with sisterhood. You understand what I'm saying? And the one thing that we always know, that we know that we lacking in our nation is brotherhood.
Come.
You know, if we had brotherhood, we wouldn't sell drugs to each other.
Right.
If we had brotherhood, we wouldn't be killing each other. If we had brotherhood, we wouldn't rob each other. If we had brotherhood, one will watch another's back. We don't have to worry about what's happening with our family members because of the brotherhood. If we came together, we know somebody on the other side has our family back. That's what we lack. That's one of the main things that we lack is brotherhood. And tonight's class is going to be about us basically depending and looking towards our oppressor as opposed to looking towards our brothers for help and for anything and the things that we need. We depend more on the oppressor than our brother. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We can talk tonight about brotherhood and things that we do that get us in the trouble that we're in, that leads to us not having brotherhood. And one of the main things that leads to us not having brotherhood is what? Name some things. Name some things that we do that pull us away from brotherhood. Name some things.
Like lack of forgiveness.
Lack of forgiveness is one of the main things. That's a Judah thing too. You understand? It's like money, exactly. And the thing with money is we depend so much on our oppressor as opposed to depending on our own. You understand? The Bible tells us what? That if we follow, and I'm just paraphrasing, if we follow the law, statutes, and commandments, that we would be the lenders and not the borrowers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And because we depend so much on our oppressor for our everyday needs, we are the borrowers and not the lenders.
Right.
You understand? And I've been through that many times. You understand? I mean, literally, a borrower, you know? And that's one of the things. You got anything else?
Pretty much taking somebody else's wife.
That too. Is that what you Gray said? Yeah. And the one thing that destroys our brotherhood is deceit. You understand what I'm saying? Deceit is one of the number one things that destroys our brotherhood, and being deceived. We as a people are easily deceived by our oppressor. That's one of the number one things that totally destroys us. That's one of the reasons why we're in Christianity.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why we're in Islam. That's one of the reasons why we study Egyptology and into all of those other Pentecostals and Episcopalians and all of that type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
What's the saying? Anything that glitters is not gold, or something like that.
Come.
We always go for the glittery thing. You understand what I'm saying? The glittery thing is what deceives us. When somebody makes something look so spectacular, we just gotta get into it. You understand what I'm saying? It's like Eve in the garden. When the serpent came up to her, he made the very thing that the Most High told her not to do. He made it look glittering. He made it look pretty. He made it look irresistible. So much so that she had to delve into it. And with her delving into it, what did we do? We followed it right behind her. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Salaki, sir, I have a question. Is Eve per se a real literal woman, or did that represent like a nation of people?
You know, Eve is a real literal woman.
Come, sir.
You understand what I'm saying? Just like Adam followed Eve. Remember, Adam was the first man. Meaning what? When they call Adam, the first, what did that mean?
That's who the Most High gave laws to.
That's who he gave
Come.
He breathed the breath of life into Adam.
Come.
And then what did Adam do in getting remember this. This is one thing you can remember. Remember when the Most High. I'm not gonna go there, right? That's a little bit too. But the Most High spoke to Adam.
Come.
He breathed the breath of life into Adam. He gave Adam the law, statutes, and commandments. And then what did Adam do?
He taught Eve.
He taught Eve. He gave the law, statutes, and commandments to Eve. So in the Christian church, what I heard a lot of women say, and I never agreed with it, but I disagreed with it in being disagreeable. You understand? I didn't know. I just like to be disagreeable. But a lot of women always said, well, if he had taught Eve and if he had showed Eve, then maybe Eve wouldn't have done it. So they always try to blame it on the man. This is what the woman does.
Come.
The woman makes the mistake and it does the reverse psychology thing. And what does the man do? You know what? You're right.
He folds.
You understand? We fold.
Come.
And this is bowing down to your woman. This is something that women do unknowingly, deceitfully. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
So the first scripture that I want to pull 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. And I'm going to let the student read it. The young man. ahead, Greg.
Nah, it's okay. Thank you. Come.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Thessalonians.
Read loud.
Second Thessalonians.
2 Thessalonians, chapter 2, verse 3. For our exhortation.
Second Thessalonians.
Oh, you were first. Yeah, you were first. Turn it just a little bit over. Yeah, you were first.
Oh, this is the second one.
Right behind.
Yeah, now you're the second.
Look,
real.
I was already in.
Second Thessalonians chapter 2.
It's very.
Chapter 2.
There it is.
Chapter 2, verse 3.
There it is right there.
Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition.
Read that top part again.
Except there.
Read the whole, start from the top again.
Start from verse 3 again.
Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
Let no man deceive you by any means.
It says, let no man deceive you by any means. Let no man deceive you. What does it mean to be deceived?
Be tricked. To be tricked.
To be tricked,
Manipulated.
manipulated,
Beguiled.
beguiled. All of that, all of the above. To be tricked, to be manipulated, to be beguiled, to be fooled.
Come.
Understand? Let no man deceive you, right? It says let no man deceive you, but it says let no man deceive you by any means. That means all three of the above plus some others. You understand? And the problem is we are constantly being deceived by every means.
Come.
And we are constantly being fooled. And let's take emancipation for one thing, right? What does it mean to be emancipated?
It's supposed to mean freedom, right, sir?
That's what it means to a slave. But for the people who wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, to be emancipated only means to be moved from private property to state property. You understand? And then they added the 13th Amendment in that said you were free unless.
Come.
And then what they did was they made any small infraction a crime. And then they were able to lock you back up and then use you as a slave legally. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
It's just what they're doing to the brothers today. Menial charges. They let you stack up. They'll probably lie about a couple of them and then have you in jail for 20 or 30 years. Or they'll throw some bogus charges on you, have you in jail for 32 years, then somebody finds out that you were never the one who did the crime, or you never committed that crime.
Come.
We've seen a lot of brothers locked up like that. You understand what I'm saying? Let no man deceive you by any means. This is the reason why we have over 2 million brothers in jail right now. You understand what I'm saying? Think about some other things that we are deceived about. Think about some other things that we are deceived about. Let's take child support. You understand what I'm saying? A woman needs help. Her and the man are together. Her and the brother are together, right? They need public assistance. The woman goes down to fill out for public assistance. What do they tell them? You have to take him down to child support. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
You get behind a couple of payments in child support, and what do?
Slide, sir, you're prison.
There you go. They put out a warrant for your arrest. Boom. Take you to prison. And the thing about it is, I remember some decades back, my uncle got locked up for child support and lost his job. He was locked up for 2 days, just behind child support. See, so it's an ongoing cycle. It's a deceitful cycle. You understand? The system makes the woman think, oh, this is going to get everything straight, when it digs the hole deeper. So now, once the man gets locked up and he gets out, what happens to the man and the woman? The relationship is dissolved. It becomes a bitter relationship. Now it's a back and forth thing. And in a lot of cases, what happens, the man will go over to the house and get into some kind of dispute with the woman will call the police, and what will happen?
Please come lock him up.
Or what else? There you go. You understand? Let no man deceive you. All of these things that they do to us are to deceive us and to have us fall into their traps and their snares. You understand? It says, let no man deceive you by any means. We have to watch out. We have to be alert. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
The oppressors' traps and snares are not like the box with the carrot. You understand? It's more ingenious than that. Everything that he does is set to destroy us. Look what he's doing to our Hispanic brothers at the border. Capture a whole family, and I say capture on purpose. Same way they captured us and brought us here. Same way they captured the Native Indians, put them on reservation. The same way they doing our Hispanic brothers at the border. You feel me?
Come.
Capturing the family at the border. Separate the mother and the father from the children. Send the mother and the father back across the border. Send the kids into the United States, never to be seen again.
Slack you, sir. It's kind of like, what we were talking about a few weeks ago. It's like you get the man out the way, you deceive and manipulate the woman, and you re-educate the children.
Exactly.
It's the same thing they did to the Native children, the same thing that they do to our black children in the black school system today, same thing they're doing to the Hispanic brothers.
Think about it, right? Just like you said, it's the same thing that they did to the Hispanics back then. Same thing they're doing to them now. It's the same thing they did to the Native Indians back then. Same thing they're doing to the Native now. It's the same thing they did to us back then. It's the same thing they did to us now. It's an ongoing cycle, and we continually are what? Deceived.
Come.
By every means. What's the saying? That if you don't learn,
those who don't know history do to repeat it.
there you go. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. This is why think about this, right? How many chances did our oppressor have to destroy this book? How many times did he have to destroy this book? Countless chances to destroy this book. This very book that's bringing us out of this dead sleep right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
This very book, he had a chance to destroy this book and have us in captivity forever. But the Most High made it possible that he did not destroy this book. This is how awesome this book is that this book gives us our history. Once again, let no man deceive you by any means. A lot of our brothers and sisters don't realize that we are the 12 tribes of Israel.
Come.
We are the children of the covenant. We are the lost sheep of Israel. You understand? And when you tell them, we all been at camp when we told people, and people don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. We ain't no Israelites. We ain't no Israel. We ain't from Israel. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Then when you ask them their nationality, what do they say? I'm black. When does a color become a nationality? I'm Afro-American. When has a nationality that is consistent of 2 continents? You understand what I'm saying? What did Captain Garrett say? I'm Episcopalian. I'm that. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
We are lost. You understand?
Come.
We have been deceived by every means. They have used every vice to deceive us, to throw us off. And it has it has worked up into some extent. But under the commanding general Yohanan and Isupk, this word is coming out and letting out people know who we are. Think about this. And I think about this every day. 3 years ago, I was outside of it. I was outside, on the outside looking in. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
I heard it, and it woke me up. I realized who we were. You understand?
Come.
Realizing who we were, that feeling came in me that, look, I gotta do something. Because I was always about doing something, but I was doing it in the wrong way. You understand? Because if you're not doing it in the one West way, you're not doing it in the right way at all. You understand? I always wanted to help my people and get us moving forward and doing what we're supposed to do so that we could own stuff. But if you're not in this truth, it's not going to work. We've seen it time after time. We've seen the Black Panthers. We've seen, what's that other group? Ones with Islam.
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Islam. Right. You understand what I'm saying? We've seen multiple groups do multiple things, and at the end of the day, it all failed. We have been deceived by every means. Everything that's set in America is to distract us. You understand? Even to the propaganda on the television set. Have you ever seen the commercials now on TV? How whenever they doing families, they always do a family with a black man and a white woman, or a black woman and a white man. You ever seen that? And then they always have a mixed child in there.
Come. And they always have to throw a dash of homosexuality in there too. It's always got to be a dash right in there too.
But the thing is when they do the mixed family, when you constantly show people mixed family and conjoined families, what does it do to people?
It conditions the mind to accept it.
Exactly. It conditions the mind to accept it. And if you were on the negative end of it, it starts to bring you to the middle, to where you start to say, you know what, bro, I can't really speak on that because I know people, or I got family that, you understand? And this is the reason why the Most High tells us what? Not to marry our sons to their daughters, and not to marry our daughters to their sons. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Because if you marry your daughters to their sons, what's going to happen?
Well, I mean, I actually can speak from experience. So, I can actually speak from experience. I think what would happen is that you would be conflicted. It would give you like a sense of conflict, and like let's just say the Most High was like, gotta separate.
Right.
Then you gonna be conflicted because you already built those relationships and stuff like that. It's gonna cause you to be confusion, and you're not gonna be able to separate like clearly.
That's true. So, anytime you join yourself to another nation, be it a son to a daughter or a daughter to one of their sons, it causes you to turn away from the Most High.
There you go. You hit it right on the nose.
Come.
You was right, but you hit it right on the nose. You understand? And then you turn and you worship another God, you turn your back on the Most High.
Come.
You understand? It's the reason why he tells us not to marry. This is the deceit. See how one thing leads to the next? It says, be not deceived. It said, let no man deceive you by any means. And they use every means to deceive us. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Every means that they have, every cog of every machine that they use is used to deceive us and to keep us in line.
Come.
The Isupk is not in line. This is not an organization that they can deal with, but this is an organization that they don't want everybody to run to. You understand what I'm saying? It says, let no man deceive you by any means, and they use every means to distract us. Think about this, right? Let's just say, just 2 years ago, marijuana was illegal. 2 years ago, illegal, period. No, let's go back a little further. 4 years ago, because 3 years ago they made it legal in Denver. Right? 3 years ago they made it legal in Denver. So 4 years ago it was illegal, period.
Come.
Right? The brothers made money, and I'm not saying that it's right, but the brothers made money on the street off of that, right? They locked up so many brothers behind that, right? Now all of a sudden it's legal. Right? All of a sudden it's legal. So now that it's legal, let me ask you, what's the cause behind it? Give me a situation that they're using to further destroy us. Doesn't have to be anything perfect, you understand what I'm saying?
Come on.
Good.
I'll say just for the simple fact that you will be in a stupor. That's 1, 2.
True.
Employment. It's still not.
You right there.
Yes.
You right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It definitely would hinder your job aspects. And 3, you're still going to have encounters with the police, and then they're going to claim that you are under the influence of some substance.
Number 2, right? Number 2 is a surefire way to further destroy us. Yeah, number 3 would work the police, right? Under the influence.
Even if you weren't exactly high at the time,
right?
If
anything they find in your blood, they gonna say
yeah,
that's what caused it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what caused the situation. But think about this. This is what I was trying to tell a lot of the brothers, right? I said, now 4 years ago, this was illegal. All of a sudden, it's legal. All of a sudden, now you can do it on the street. So what happens now? Now you gotta go, in order to legally do it, now you gotta go get a card. That means you have to do what? You have to register. Right? So now when you go for your interview, what happens?
If you get it,
they say, do you smoke? Right? You say no. But you in the system as yes. They punch you up. You know? Right? So now, let's go rewind. You go back. They say, do you smoke? And you say yes. And what happens? Oh, you understand what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get the brothers to understand this is a lose-lose situation. Let no man deceive you by any means. They'll use anything to deceive you, to have you back on the street, to have you doing something illegal so that we can lock you up and then we can use you for free. Let no man deceive you by any means.
Slight, sir. Actually, if they really wanted to lock you up still, they could.
Right.
Because of the what they call the paraphernalia charge.
Right.
And really they didn't decriminalize it here in Baltimore. It's just that the state's attorney's office is just choosing not to prosecute the marijuana crime.
Right, and what's happening too, like I said, now you walk up and down on Wilkins Avenue and everybody pumping and the police just ride by.
But let's say that she loses
right.
the next election and you get another state's attorney's office, that could change overnight.
Right, that could change overnight, but at the moment it's still deceit because they have an ulterior motive behind it. Understand everything that the city, the state, and the country does, they always have an ulterior motive to destroy the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, the 12 tribes of Israel. You have to keep, in order for this nation to prosper and to keep pushing forward, it has to keep us in slavery. You know, the way you keep us in slavery is you keep us docile and you keep us locked up.
Come.
You understand what I'm saying? The nation. Go ahead.
Slacky. I mean, I like how you say docile. That's why they like to get rid of the black man. Or they like to push the feminization of the black man.
Right.
Because they want that docile, spirit on him.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? And not only do they do that, but look at, and I don't want to go too far off, but I want to look at that Breonna Taylor situation. Look at who they put in front of us to say that, we found these officers not guilty. Look at who they put in front of them.
We talking about the black man?
Yeah.
Come.
You understand? But did you actually see his background? Who he's married to?
It's a white woman, right?
He's married to an oppressor.
Come.
So what is he? He can't see anything from your vantage point.
Come.
Why can't he? Because it offends his white counterpart.
Come.
You understand? So what does he have to do? He has to stay neutral. If he stays neutral, what does that mean?
Sir, I don't even think he's neutral. I think he's pretty much joined the other side.
No. That's the way I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You understand? Remember, the Most High says you have to be either hot or cold. You can't be lukewarm. You understand? Even in this situation, you have to be hot or cold. You can't be lukewarm. So if you're not for us, you got to be against us. You understand what I'm saying? You hit it right on the nose. That's what I was getting at. He is for them. This is the reason why the Most High said that if you marry them, you will leave me. You understand? It is you can't stand on the fence and say, man, I'm out of it. Can't be. You either here or you there. You understand what I'm saying? It is no in between. And this is this is the reason why the Most High told us not to marry them, not to intermingle with them, not to lock hands. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm paraphrasing. Not to marry them, not to make marriages. You understand? And this is what we constantly do this over and over and over and over again. And a safe haven, a haven for this kind of wickedness is right there on Wilkins Avenue where I live at. It's so many white and black couples. To where you can't speak really, you can speak black issues, but people are like, man, I don't really want to talk about that. You understand what I'm saying? When we're being destroyed right here on Wilkins Avenue. That's a hub right there. Let no man deceive you by any means. That hub right there is the very thing that destroys us. You understand what I'm saying? That's the very thing that destroys us. And this is the reason why the Most High says not to make marriages with them. Once you make marriages with them, you're going to turn away from me. You're going to start worshiping their God. You're going to start living in their customs and their culture. Look at that, I can't even say her, she's not even us. She's a East Indian.
Oh, Kamala.
But she plays the role like she's us so well that she deceives a lot of women. Women are easily deceived, right? And the one thing that they know, and this is the reason why he picked her, because he knew that most of the black vote is coming from who? The black woman. So he understood being a deceiver, being a devil. You understand what I'm saying? He understood that if he took a woman that looked like us, he could get the majority of the black vote because of the black woman is going to vote for somebody who they think is them. And then what's going to happen? A lot of the men that are with them are going to follow suit.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Oh, well, if we got to vote for somebody, I'm going to vote for the black woman. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
For the black woman's God. You understand what I'm saying? Exactly. You understand? And this is the reason why we being destroyed, because everybody is deceiving us by every means. Most High says what? Let no man deceive you by any means. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Let's grab let's go to Proverbs chapter 28, verse 10.
Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 10. All I can got it.
Right.
I thought he was reading.
Yeah, he is, but
I was checking something on my phone.
Proverbs chapter 28, verse 10.
Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way.
Say that again.
Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way.
Go ahead.
He shall fall himself into his own pit.
It says he shall fall himself into his own pit. Anybody who leads it says, whoso causeth the righteous to go astray in an evil way. Let me ask a question, right? How does the righteous go astray in an evil way? I know you got it.
How's the righteous go astray?
Give me a scenario, a situation how the righteous can go astray in an evil way. Remember, listen to this again. Remember this. That no man can deceive you by any means.
The righteous go astray in an evil way.
Whoso causeth. Listen to that. It says, whoso causeth.
Is it like
Whoso causeth the righteous. Who do you have to be the righteous?
Christian.
Not a Christian.
you talking about like an Israelite?
There you go.
So like the Christian pastors, right?
There you go. Right there. You understand what I'm saying?
Come on.
A Christian pastor, a black politician, a black district attorney. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray, right? In an evil way. It says he shall fall himself into a pit. Right? When you lead the children of Israel down a rocky path into a pit, you're going to fall into that pit yourself.
Come.
You're going to be destroyed yourself. When those preachers and those pastors tell you to what? Get out and vote. Go have that abortion. You understand? Kick your husband out.
Come.
All of these things leading us astray. I've been in churches where they said, well, you just need to leave him alone. He ain't working, put him out. You understand what I'm saying? Not understanding or not wanting to understand the situation that the so-called 12 tribes of Israel are going through today. See, these pastors don't care about anything but filling their own pocket and filling their own lust. You understand? Whoso causeth the righteous to go astray. That's what they do. Listen, we got black mayor, black city councilman, black district attorney. We got black everything in Baltimore except for what? We got black everything, right? A few councilmen, but we got black everything, right? And how far have we come since 1965?
We're going backwards.
Here we going backwards.
Come.
We going backwards. You understand what I'm saying? So what are they doing? What are they doing?
It's like building Esau's kingdom.
Building Esau's kingdom, but give me what I want to hear. You just said it.
Oh, they are deceiving the people.
Yeah, but
Lead them into a pit.
whoso causes the righteous, they causing the righteous to go astray. You understand? They got us out here voting for something that's not going to help us. As a matter of fact, they got us out here voting when the Most High says, never put a man above you that is
not of your people.
Not of your people. And not in the truth. It can be about people, but if you're not in the truth, it's still not the person that the Most High picked. Remember, he said not to put anybody over you that I didn't pick. I'm paraphrasing. You understand what I'm saying?
That's your brother.
Matter of fact, let's grab that scripture. That should be, Revelations 12 and 16. No. Lies. Deuteronomy 17 and 15. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Officer, not war. I'm gonna let him read.
Come on, sir.
You got it?
Yep. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren. Shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Which is not thy brother. It says, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee. You cannot set anybody over you that the Most High did not choose. You understand what I'm saying?
Come on.
Not to mention, you can't set anyone over you that is not your brother, that is not from the 12 tribes of Israel, and that the Most High did not choose. You can choose somebody from the 12 tribes of Israel, but if the Most High didn't choose him, then you still can't choose him. You understand what I'm saying? We got brothers from the 12 tribes of Israel that are not in the truth. You understand what I'm saying? So would it be wise to choose somebody who doesn't know the law, statutes, and commandments? Would it be wise? Would it be wise? Most High said, do not choose anyone that I did not choose. And if you do choose somebody, make sure it's one of your brethren. But more than that, if someone is chosen, first off, the Most High has to choose them. And if the Most High chooses them, then that means they're going to be under the law, statutes, and commandments. They're going to be in the truth. You understand what I'm saying? That's why we have to wait for the Most High to choose them. We already have a king. Who's our king?
Christ, sir.
Exactly.
Yahweh.
Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? Shalom, Shawan Johnson. Sean Johnson. Shalom, Yahweh Shema, Thumba Shina Shasta. But we can't choose anybody that is not over us. I mean, that is not in the truth, and that the Most High didn't choose to put over us. You understand what I'm saying? That's one of the major, and this is coming up now. We got another month before they vote.
Come on, sir.
Another month before they vote. And everybody, you see all the commercials now, huh?
Come on.
You know, vote, get out and vote, do this, do that. You understand? Here we are, being deceived again. Understand? Christ said, the Most High says what? There's no man deceived by any means, and all of the deceit is coming up now. Everything that's being propagated is being propagated against us to get us to choose somebody and put somebody over us to further oppress us for another 4 years. You understand what I'm saying? Our people just don't. And the thing about, you know what's funny to me? What's funny to me is that no matter how much we go out there and we say, listen, we've been voting since what?
65.
65 legal because 1930.
Come on.
They got the right. No, excuse me. 1870. They gave the so-called blacks the right to vote in 1870. And then it was the Civil Rights Act came in 1965. But from 1965 until today, what has What has voting gotten us?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Voting gets you nowhere. You don't get anything by voting. You understand? Think about it, right? Our communities haven't changed. How many we had, you 15, right? 3 votings came past since you've been born. Ain't nothing changed. A whole bunch of votings came past since I was born. You understand what I'm saying? And nothing changed. Park Heights still look the same. Allen Garrison still look the same. Auburn Junction still look the same. Poplar Grove and Emerson still look the same. Monument Street still look the same, other than the parts that John Hopkins took over and rebuilt on. You understand what I'm saying? What's that? They tore what's the name down, but everything out there at Dundalk, out Dundalk in Essex, all of that stuff still look the same. What has it gotten us? Nothing. They send this census thing around. They say because it brings more money into your neighborhood, right? That's what it's supposed to do. Right? What does it do?
It gets a count so you can get the number of delegates, and increase the number of delegates, and increases the electoral college votes for each state, and then based on that, it makes your state more attractive to candidates when they run for president. That's why they really don't care if you're actually registered.
Right.
If you're actually physically there, then they can use you.
More attractive. Somebody running for president.
Come.
Which means what? It's a deceitful movement. Let no man deceive you by any means. You see where we at? Everything is about deceit without oppression. Everything is about, the hand being quicker than the eye. You think you see something. You think you see something going to happen. You think it's going to happen, and it never materializes. You understand what I'm saying? The things that we think are going to happen are never going to happen. Because we keep depending, we keep putting out dependence in our oppressor. And now they're coming back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and doing what the Most High tells us to do. And coming up out of this hell. We've been living, all of us were born into hell. All of us, the 12 tribes have been born into hell. Think about it, right?
Come.
Even a rich athlete is born into hell and living in a higher hell than we live. Think about it, right? They can't even say what they want to say about the injustices for fear of what?
Losing their job.
Say that again?
Losing their job.
Losing their job and losing what else?
What? That's basically all they got.
Endorsements and money and all of that.
A lifestyle, basically.
Exactly. Losing that lifestyle. Think about where most of them come from.
The same place we come from.
Same place we come from. And once you start living that lifestyle, do you want to go back to where you came from?
No.
Hell no. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
See, it's about strength. You know who I got some kind of respect for? Ice Cube. Cause he coming out. Hey, didn't they say Nick Cannon came back out again?
He lost this job for it.
Yeah, but I thought they said he came back out and said something else again. He's got some balls, huh? I'm gonna look into that, but I thought somebody said that he came back out and went back to what he was talking about before. He must have heard some people talking about him, you know what I mean? All right, it says, thou shalt in any wise set a king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee, one from among thy brethren, one from among us. But being one from among us means he has to be in the truth. You understand? Or we're going to go for another 4 years of being deceived. You know? You got any questions? Okay. Hey, let's go to Isaiah chapter 3. Verse 12.
I got it.
You got it? You ready to read that?
I got it.
You sure? Okay, go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people,
It says, as for my people, who are they talking about?
us,
Us
12 tribes.
There you go, 12 tribes. Go ahead.
As for my people, children and their oppressors.
Say that again. Read that again.
As for my people, children and their oppressors.
No. Read that again. You saying something wrong.
As for my people, children are their oppressors.
There you go. There you go. Read that aloud. Read aloud.
As for my people, children are their oppressors.
It says children are their oppressors. What does it mean by that? Children are their oppressors. Go ahead.
It means that children is making decisions that they have no business making.
Exactly. True. That. True.
In the house.
Right.
At home, yeah.
Right. But more than that, listen to this. Remember, it's saying children are their oppressors. It's only one oppressor.
Come on.
So who is that speaking of?
Esau.
It's speaking of Esau. What it's saying right here when it says children are their oppressors, it's speaking of the personality of Esau. Only a child will poison the same food that he has to eat. Only a child will poison the water that he has to drink. Only a child will drop a bomb on his own people. You understand? Because of the anger. So right here, you're right. Because it can be used that way. But when it's speaking of children are their oppressors, it's speaking of the personality of the oppressor. He has a childlike personality. He does things as a child does. You understand? He steals, he rapes, he robs, he murders, and with no regard. Only a child thinks like that. You understand what I'm saying? So it says children are our oppressors. So it's saying, as for my people, children are oppressors. The people that are over us have childlike personality. Our oppressor has a childlike personality. You understand?
Sir, it's how did you bring that up? I don't know if you heard down in Texas that they found some sort of amoeba in the drinking water that could infect your brain and basically kill you.
I ain't even surprised. Think about this, right? Understand this. Remember when that thing in Flint, Michigan hit with the water in Flint, Michigan?
Come on.
Right before it hit the news, did you see what happened here in Baltimore? Right before that thing in Flint, Michigan hit the news, did you see what happened here in Baltimore?
I don't know.
All of a sudden, they started working on the reservoir at Liberty Heights. I was actually living right around the corner from it at the time. Just before that happened. You was little then. You was a lot little then. But just before the Flint, Michigan thing really hit, when people started finding out, excuse me, we wasn't living around the corner. He was playing football, shut down right there.
Oh, I
He
know
was
what
playing
city you're
football,
talking
shut down right there. And they had drained Liberty Reservoir out. And then a few months later, that's when the whole thing came out about Flint, Michigan. Right after that. You understand what I'm saying? So think about that reservoir and who that reservoir feeds, right? Or who drinks from that reservoir. It's mainly us, but it goes to some of their residents too. You understand what I'm saying? And only a child with poison to kill us would poison them too. You understand? This is what it means when it says children are our oppressor. You know, it's speaking of the personality of the oppressor. The personality of our oppressor has a childlike personality. The things that he does, sometimes we looking like, what made him do that? You understand what I'm saying? So this is what it means when it says that. Like I said, just before the thing in Flint, Michigan hit all over the country, just before that hit, they started cleaning up some of the reservoirs. Think about how they got Druid Hill Park drained out now. You understand what I'm saying? Why did all of a sudden they decide to do that? You understand what I'm saying? It's not by happenstance. It ain't, they didn't just wake up one day and say, boy, you know what, we're not gonna go here and just, do that. You understand what I'm saying? He did it for a reason, because people started finding out. So if it's a reservoir here in this urban city, then maybe they did it in another urban city. So they was trying to think ahead and start cleaning up all around the country, trying to start cleaning up all of these listeners. We went through New York. Remember we went to the Passover in New York and they was talking about, and remember that bridge we was riding up under and the water was right there? Mm-hmm. And somebody said, that how filthy that water was. That water was I don't know what body of water that was that we was riding alongside on a bridge right there in New York. But they was talking about how filthy that water is. Somebody said you could fall in there and be poisoned to death. You understand what I'm saying? But when the thing in Flint, Michigan happened, and all of a sudden you start thinking like, damn, you understand? I wonder why it's like that. Think about what they just said about the harbor, right? They said what? In 3 years you gonna be able to swim in the harbor? They said, how the hell that's gonna happen? And I'm saying, how the hell is that gonna happen? Because you eating all the clams, the shrimp, the lobster, and everything else, crabs and all that. You eating the things that kill all the bacteria, that eat up all the bacteria, the clams, the mussels, the oysters, the things that filter the water. You eating all of that out of there. How could you possibly get that water clean? How? You understand what I'm saying? They have a childlike mind. I mean, think about it. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. You understand? The Most High put those things in the ocean for a reason. And you continually talk about, and then they talk about the clam shortage, the oyster shortage, how short they are. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, if it's a shortage, how could you possibly be able, and bodies are constantly found in there. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, how could they possibly be clean enough to swim? Wouldn't catch me in it. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, he has a childlike personality. You understand? Some of the things, I don't want to go too far off, but think about this, right? The theory of relativity. The theory of whatever. What is the theory?
A belief.
True. True what you said.
A hypothesis, basically. What
Right.
you believe it to be.
Right, but what you believe it to be, that can't be disproven. Right? A theory, you can say, all right, Pluto is 653,000 million miles away from the Earth. That's my theory. How can you prove it not? Who has a ruler that long? You understand what I'm saying? So they can say things, you understand what I'm saying? And when you start thinking about what they're saying, you're like, damn, that's like the dumbest shit I ever heard. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's childlike. You understand the earth is 462 million years old, right? And they just found a dinosaur with blood still in the bone. They said blood can last in the bones for up to 5,000 years. After that, so if the dinosaurs were here last 1,000,000 years ago, how could it still be blood in the bones? You understand what I'm saying? It's childlike. So when you start looking, sitting back, and you start saying like, they told us these were 1,000,000,000 years old. You understand what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you read the Bible, and the Bible says, well, the earth is only, let's say about 10,000 years old. You understand what I'm saying? How do you get millions upon millions upon millions? Because they're giving you something that you can't disprove. You understand? Childlike. Children are our oppressor. A child will think of something like that. I know we used to say, I want $1 gazillion. You understand what I'm saying? What the hell is a gazillion? But another kid would be like, damn, yeah, I would like that too. Thinking like a child. That's how we thought of gazillion. How do you spell gazillion? A child can spell gazillion. You know what I mean? Gazillion is spelled the way that you say it's spelled. That's how children do. You feel me? A gazillion. I remember I used to say that. Well, if I had a wish, I wish for a gazillion. You understand what I'm saying? Childlike. You know what I'm saying? Children are our oppressor. Go ahead. You read that?
No, that was me.
Go ahead, finish reading that. Children are our oppressor. That's Isaiah 3:12. All right, brother? You got to come together. You there?
Uh-huh.
All right, go ahead.
And women rule over them.
Women rule over them. Go ahead.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
They which lead thee cause thee to err. Listen, when we follow behind our oppressor, who has those childlike personalities and attributes, they lead us to error. When we follow behind your woman, her following behind the oppressor, who has a childlike personality, they lead us to error.
Con.
Understand? Go ahead.
And destroy the way of thy parents.
What was we talking about earlier? When you marry somebody from another nation and you intermingle with them and you follow their, go ahead, what you was going to say?
It causes you to turn your back on the Most High, right?
And it leads us off what? It says destroy the way of thy path. It leads us right off the path of righteousness into the path of destruction. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
It leads us off. You understand? And this is the reason why we have to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. We have to follow the ways of righteousness. We have to follow the Most High. We have to do what He tells us to do. We got to stop voting. Stop getting out there voting and voting for somebody who is going to continually destroy us.
Con.
You understand what I'm saying? This is what we got to do. You know? They which lead us causes us to err. Destroy the path, you know. And you know what the hardest thing in the world to do? Think about this, right? Think about a pastor who has a gazillion-dollar church, right? Think about a pastor who has a church like that, and you give him the truth. What is he gonna do? Jack. Why is he gonna kill him?
Because then he would lose his place.
Because he has walked so far down a path and has gotten so comfortable. You're right. Because he's gonna lose his place. He has gotten so comfortable with the destruction of our people that he will never turn down. And he will never tell the people the truth. You understand what I'm saying? Just like Jesse Jackson. Remember when the brothers walked up on Jesse Jackson and told Jesse, Jesse, you will tell the people who we are. Jesse like, I don't think they're ready for that. It's not that they're not ready for it. It's just that you don't want to tell them to do what? Just what you said. Lose his place. Because if the people find out who they are, we don't need Jesse anymore.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? If the people find out who they are, we don't need Jamal Bryant anymore. If the people find out who they are, we don't need T.D. Jakes. We don't need Creflo Dollar. We don't need any of them anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not about religion anymore. It's about the law, statutes, and commandments. It's about following direction. You understand? It's about coming back onto the path of righteousness and coming away from the path of destruction. You understand? What did that first scripture say that we spoke about? It said, let no man deceive you by any means. T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, Jamal Bryant, all those other pastors and everything, they are doing what?
Well, first of all, they leading us astray.
Right, exactly. That's it. Right there. They deceiving us by any means.
Come on.
When you walk down a particular path, think about this. How many of us have ever heard of a Christian pastor that's making $1 million, find out the truth, and all of a sudden leave that $1 million to follow the Most High? Never. Because once you take so many steps down a particular path, that road back is so narrow. And it's so easy to stay on the path of destruction. That you say, no, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. God bless you, little brother. You understand what I'm saying? This is what they do. You feel me?
Come.
This is the reason why Most High says, let no man deceive you by any means, because when we let people deceive us by any means necessary, we tend to walk a path for so long that when we finally hear the truth, it's like, I don't believe it. I'm going to keep on going this way. I think about when I came into the UPK, right? I went back to church twice to tell the people, look, we going the wrong way. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
We going the wrong way. And I told them, I said, I'm only coming back one more time. You know what I mean? And I was telling them, I was giving them the breakdowns and everything. I had heard Captain Tazari, I had listened to that about 100 times. I said, I'm going back and I'm telling them this, right? I broke it down to them. And they was like, wow, that sounds right. Listen to what I just said. They said, wow, that sounds right. I've been doing this way so long, I can't do that.
Come.
You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
And I actually saw that. You understand what I'm saying? When you see people, and one of the brothers that I told, he just died 2 months ago. He was an older cat. And I used to always tell Bill, because Bill, you would have never knew he was like 87. I didn't even think he was that old. You know what I mean? And I used to always say, why oh God got you here for a reason? Because you don't look. I said 80, I'm sorry, man. 67. But if you didn't look that, I would have never gave him that. You understand what I'm saying? And somebody just told me he died. He just died. You know, and he was 67 when I was there. two now. Understand what I'm saying? So I told him first, and he was like, wow, that sound right. It sound, you know what I mean? Like, you've been in this church for 30, almost 40, 35, 40 years. It's hard to make that turn and come back up that road you just walked down for 40 years. You understand what I'm saying? And when you've been deceived by every means, it makes that path back even harder.
Come.
I admire you and Matazaba because I was listening to y'all stories about how y'all was in school and you brought it to him. You understand? Wasn't it y'all was in school?
Come. Well, when we when I was back in high school,
Right.
I knew a little bit about the Sabbath.
Right.
So I was kind of like bringing it to him.
Right.
But then he started, and years later, he started, listening to UPK, and then he shared it. So it was like we shared stuff with each other.
And I admire that so much with y'all because I was what? 48, 49 before I heard.
Come.
You understand what I'm saying? I seen the brothers on the street before, a whole lot of different people just like, I get a flyer and like, about my business. 48. And that's the one thing I used to always sit around like, man, I wish I could be younger about that shit. You understand what I'm saying? So, but some of us, it's hard to make that turn. For me, I had been looking for the truth for real. And I had been leaving the church because the church wasn't doing what I was reading in the Bible.
Come.
The Bible said you're supposed to be doing.
Come.
So I would leave the church, I would come back. I would leave the church, I would come back. I knew that Bible was real. It was just that y'all not doing what it says you're supposed to be doing. We supposed to be getting out in the street and we supposed to be going to speak to the people. I lived for those days. Where we be walking up and down the street talking to people, telling them about the Bible.
Come.
We did it once or twice. Every time the time was supposed to come up, oh, I can't do it this day because I gotta do this and I gotta do that. That got me hot. So when I heard the truth, listening to Black News 102, man, listening to that shit about like me, all of a sudden, I heard Captain Zakaria battling a life.
Come.
They had a debate in the bookstore.
Come. Right.
Debate in the bookstore. I said, man, let me hear this brother tear the Bible up. Let me hear how, what's his name, Captain Zakaria, who? I said, let me hear this dude tear the Bible up. He don't know the Bible like I do. And when he ripped that Bible apart, I was like, oh shit, I don't know shit. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
And from that, when I listened to that lecture, right, when I listened to that debate, I pulled everything up on that Zakaria. And a whole bunch of stuff came up, and every day I was just listening. It was easy for me to make that turn. For a lot of brothers, when they walk so far down the path, it's hard for me to come back.
Come.
You know what I'm saying? And leading the man, like we said, leading the man into destruction is only leading yourself into your own destruction. These pastors and these preachers and all of them that's leading our people down the path of destruction is only digging a pit for themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Leading our people into destruction. It's the reason why we get out there and we try to talk to our people and get our people to turn away from that Christian church. Because we know what that Christian church is about. We know that Christian church is only leading us to destruction.
Come.
Listen, it says, let no man deceive you by any means. That's by any means. That means it's multiple ways of being deceived. And you have to watch out. When a man comes up to you and speaks, you have to test his spirit.
Right.
You understand? You have to try him. You understand? We've been tried. You understand? A man comes up to you and speaks, we gotta try him. You understand? You gotta let him know who he is. You gotta let him know that he's following the path of destruction. You on the path of destruction. You feel me?
Come.
Let's Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. Verse 2. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12. Verse 10.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Say that again.
Never trust thine enemy.
One more time.
Never trust thine enemy.
That's the problem with our people right there. We are too trusting.
Come.
And the problem is we don't trust in our own brothers and sisters. We always trust in our enemy. You understand? When we see a brother or sister tell us something, we refuse to believe it. But if the white man co-signs for it, we'll immediately. And then the thing about it is, we'll thank that white man and won't thank the people who came to us first. You understand what you got?
Salaki, sir, what you bring out is so dynamic. I see it all the time in the school. Salaki, I see this all the time in the school system.
Right.
A black teacher, especially like a black teacher, will say something. It will get argued, shot down, fired at, missiles and everything. White person will come right behind and say the same thing, sometimes even worse, and people just listen like, that's a great idea. Right. And they get and these are ideas how to teach our black kids. That's what it burns me up. It's like when a white person says something, it's pretty much law. Right. No argue, debate, no pushback, rebuttal. Black person says something, it's pretty much like you got, especially a black man. Right. When a black man says something, it's got to be argued, shot down, torpedoed. Oh, so what you're saying is I see it all the time.
Listen, they gotta destroy the black man, whether he's right or wrong.
Come.
He has to be destroyed. You understand? They'll steal your ideas.
Come.
Now that happened to me personally. My baby boy was only a year old when this happened. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling them, I'm working a warehouse job, and I'm telling the guy on the job who's supposed to be our supervisor, which was an oppressor. But I've been working in warehousing, off and on all my life just about. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm telling him the order that he's doing stuff is wrong. It's an easier way. If you do it this way, it works out easier. And bang, all of that, what we're going through is irrelevant. Oh, no, that's not gonna work. But me and my man standing out there, he was like, oh, what you saying, do it, it's easier, it sounds easier, it's easier. An hour later, president of the company come back out into the warehouse. He said, I just want to pull everybody up and I want to say this, such and so has an idea to make the business run a little bit better. He said, we do something like this, if we do it like this. And my man looked at me and he like, stone yacht. There you go. You understand what I'm saying? They'll steal it from you too. My man hated him from that day on. You understand what I'm saying? But it's what they do. You understand what I'm saying? I was okay because I know this is what they do. If I say now that, oh, I gave him that idea, they're not going to give me the little bonus they gave him. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
My man was mad. My man hated him from that day on. He hated me. You understand what I'm saying? I said, this is the reason why you got to watch out for them. And I was telling him that. He's for that. You understand? And I told him, when I leave, all this will fall on you. The day I walked out the door, he walked out the door. You understand what I'm saying? My last day, which was I had already put in on my, because I was going to where I'm at now, but not where I'm at now, that's time. But this is what they do. You understand? That no man deceive you by any means. Don't let no man steal nothing from you. Understand? Because they will steal. This is what the oppressor does. When he came over here, what did he do? He stole the land.
Come.
Understand? What did he do with the so-called Negro slave? stole all the ideas that built up this country.
Right.
He stole the work. He stole slaves to do the work that he could not do. You understand what I'm saying? Look at everything that has happened to us. Stealing land, killing, murdering, pillaging. It's just what he does. Let no man deceive you by any means. Don't let them fool you and make them think that they are anything else but what they are. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
This is just what they are. This is just how they built. This is why I tell you all the time, don't never trust them. Regardless of what they say, it's not in writing, and you don't have a receipt on it, don't believe them. Don't ever believe them. You know, because they'll say, oh, I didn't say that.
Right.
I don't remember saying that. I can't recall. I mean, that's their famous word. I can't recall. Are you sure? Are you sure it was me? Understand? Let no man deceive you by any means. You understand?
Come.
Let's do this. Let's go. Let's go Ecclesiasticus. Chapter 40. Verse 28.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 40, verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life.
It said, my son, lead not a beggar's life. What does that mean?
I mean, isn't that kind of like what the condition we're in now? Like it's like we beg the white man for crumbs.
Exactly. It says, my son, lead not a beggar's life. What does that mean? Again, it's what you said, right? But what is he telling us?
I mean,
You heard what you said, right?
Come.
Say what you said again.
It's like the condition we're in now. It's like we're begging the white man for crumbs.
So what is he saying?
I mean, pretty much don't be affiliated with
There
them.
you go. Don't beg. But more than that, don't depend on him. Depend on your own.
Come.
Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourself together. Come together and you can work it out with your own. Stop depending on the oppressor.
Come.
Voting is what? Depending on the oppressor.
Come.
Understand what I'm saying? Hands up, don't shoot. Protesting is what? Depending on the oppressor. You say, well, how do you depend on the oppressor when you're protesting? Because you're begging him for something.
Come. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You can't, it tells us, gather yourself together for a reason. Not only do you gather yourself together, but you gather yourself together and you have to be on one accord. Everybody has to say, we have to depend on each other.
Come.
Understand? We can't depend on outside help. The problem with us is, when you go and march, what do we do? What's the one thing that destroys us that we do when we march?
Well, one thing is I don't know one thing I noticed is the oppressors right there marching with us.
There you go. You hit it right on the money. You want to include the very people that's destroying you.
Right.
So what does that do to you? What we talked about earlier. What does that do to you? When you include the oppressor in your march, what does it do?
It makes you. What does it make you turn your back on the most?
It makes you docile.
Come.
It makes you not expect everything that you'll do.
Come.
You understand what I'm saying? When you're marching, if you're arguing with a white man right here, and you got a white man on your side, the things that you should be saying to him, you're not going to say to him because why? Because I got him right here. I can't offend him. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
The things that you need to ask for and you need to say, you can't really say because you have the oppressor right here with you. So I can't offend my oppressor friend. Gather yourself together, gather yourself together. O nation not desired. Listen, he letting you know that you are not desired by these people. So you need to come together with your own. You need to stop depending on handouts. Bring your resources together and take care of your own. Let me ask a question. Out of all of these marches, out of all of these walks, out of all of these things that they're doing right now in protests, how many Chinese people do you see there?
Not a damn one,
How
Slocky.
many Koreans do you see there? How many Arabs do you see? Oh, I'm gonna go one even better. How many Africans do you see?
Wrong one.
Exactly. And they're not being destroyed either, are they? Why are they not being destroyed? Because they're sticking to their own. They're taking care of their own. Think about it, right? I think I say this about every week, right? 70% of the economy is built on what?
It's built on what? On the
70%
spend.
of the U.S. economy is built on who?
Us, right? Or the spender.
There it is, black labor, right? That means we are the cause that makes this country go. So if we remove this cause, the country does what? Gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather yourself together. O nation, I desire. When you remove yourself, listen, the Most High gave us the ingredients to bring this whole country down. He used the coronavirus. He just threw the coronavirus in there. I'm gonna give them a little pinch of this and see what they do. I'm gonna start a couple of fires here and there. I'm gonna see what they do. Destruction is imminent. You understand what I'm saying?
No more con.
These are plagues. Listen. Paint your doorposts so that I know you are with me. So when that angel comes, you are not taken away with the enemy. Right? I'm just paraphrasing. This is what happened in Egypt, right? In order for the children of Egypt to be delivered, they had to depend on the Most High. You understand? And then they were delivered. The problem is, the reason why we being destroyed and we falling with our enemies because we still dependent on our enemies.
Con.
And not on the Most High. You understand what I'm saying?
Con.
We are being deceived by every means. You understand? We're being deceived by every means. And until we start believing and depending on the Most High and putting our dependence in the Most High and in these laws, statutes, and commandments, we want to continue to fall.
Con.
It's just what's going to happen. You feel me?
Con.
Where we at?
Ecclesiasticus 40 and 28. You want to finish that?
Go ahead. Start it again at the top.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life.
So lead not a beggar's life. We talked about that, right?
Come.
Stop asking these. Stop depending on this welfare. Stop depending on child support. Stop depending on food stamps. Stop depending on public housing. Come together and do what we gotta do. Go ahead.
For better it is to die than to beg.
He said, for better it is to die than to beg. Listen, it is a humiliating thing to sit around and beg somebody for something that they don't really want to give you. It is better to die than to beg.
Salaki, sir. Marching through the streets for the whole world to see with a sign in your hand that says Black Lives Matter.
That is a beggar's life.
You're begging another man to give your life value.
Exactly. And let me say this, right? A man is not going to value your life unless you value your own life. You Understand what I'm saying? And if you have to sit there and tell a man or ask a man, what am I worth? You're going to be garbage. You're going to be destroyed. It says, gather yourself together. Move away. It tells us that we should be with our home. You understand? We should be living with our home. We should be taking care of our home. We should have our own nursing home. We should have our own school. We should have our own land. We should have our own industry. You understand what I'm saying? We cannot have anything as long as the oppressor is over you. You understand what I'm saying? The first thing you need when building a nation is you need land. Because as long as you're living on the oppressor's land, the oppressor can come up and move you at any time. You need resources. We need water. You need all of these things to build and everything like that. We need our own industries to build. And these are the things that we're doing in the UPK right now. We building upon these things right now. We building a military right now. The very foundation is your military because you need somebody to protect your people. You know? These are the things that we need. Go ahead.
Verse 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
Read that again.
The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life.
What does that mean?
It means if you depend on another man for anything, then you're not alive. You're dead.
You're dead. Useless. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what's happening to us right now. We're putting our dependence on another man's table. Instead of doing what? Instead of gathering together and building our own tables. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
We not gathering together and building our own table. Building up our own resources. You understand? Building our own schools.
Definitely not.
To build your own school. UPK doing it now. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
That right now. Who has more schools than the UPK? Think about it, right? Everybody has more people, but nobody has more schools. And I'm talking about schools that are, what's the word? Practical.
Come.
You understand? Something that you can use right now. Something that's helping you right now. Church is not helping us. The mosque is not helping us. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Those things are helping us. But the UPK is helping us. How do I know? I'm here. I saw what it does. I've been in the Christian church and went nowhere. You know? We all been somewhere. And we all ended up here. You know what I mean?
Come.
Go ahead.
For he polluteth himself with other men's meat, but a wise man well nurtured will beware thereof.
Hey, read that again.
For he polluteth himself with other men's meat.
What does that mean? He polluteth himself with other man's meat.
Was it?
Well, you're taking in the sustenance, not the economics, the philosophy, the culture,
There you go. Yep.
everything else of another people,
Exactly.
and diminishing yourself in the process.
Exactly. You hit that right on the money. You understand? We taking in the customs and philosophies and the thought process of another people. When you take on the thought process of another people, you leave out your own people. The thought process of another people is for that other people.
It's like, sir, every 4th of July, we shoot off more fireworks than anybody.
Taking on the customs and philosophies of other people.
But in 1776, we weren't free or independent from any damn thing.
Still in chains.
Con.
Still in chains. You know? And it's a damn shame even when you tell people, well, man, I celebrated it, so I want my kids to experience what I experienced. You know, all the dumb shit. You know? I want to give everything I didn't get to do. I want to give my and then you know what? That's got to be the dumbest line in the world. I hate when people say that. I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have.
With this pressure.
Yeah. So when you try and give your kid everything that you have, you end up most of the time you end up doing immoral things. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
What happens when you use lines like that? You understand? And that's another way that we are deceived. You feel me?
Come.
We are deceived when we sit and we want to give our kids. Sometimes we don't sit back and say, well, why didn't I get those things? It ain't always because our moms didn't have it. You understand? Sometimes we didn't deserve it. And then we end up giving our children who don't deserve it the things that we give them. You understand?
Come.
Most of the time we don't give them stuff that they don't deserve. But because we didn't have it, we want to make sure they got it. You know?
Come.
And I did that before. You know? I'm not gonna say I didn't use that phrase, but I try to give my oldest everything that I felt like they had to have this. They gotta have this. And I did it by any means. I did dumb shit to get it. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
I made it happen. You understand? Immoral. Destroying your own people to make sure your children got what you didn't have is a stupid thing. You understand? It's a stupid way of thinking. You understand? Because we don't think, man, does my kid deserve this? You understand?
Come.
Deceiving ourselves. We deceiving ourselves because of the situation that we are in. You understand? Our oppressor puts us in positions to further destroy ourselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
We are always placed in positions to further our destruction, and I did that. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
It says, but a wise man, well nurtured, will beware thereof. A wise man will think about these things. You understand? And he will take precautions not to make dumb moves like I did. You understand what I'm saying? I made a lot of dumb moves.
Come.
But I thank God I held on and I lasted long enough to find the truth. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
I wish I could have found it a little earlier, but I'm here. You know what I mean?
Come.
I'm here. All right, let's I'm gonna grab this one more scripture, right? I'm gonna grab one more scripture. Give me Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 5. Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 5.
I got it.
Got it? Go ahead, read that for me.
Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 5.
Pick your head up and read loud for me.
Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem?
It says, for who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Who's going to have pity for us? Nobody. Nobody. No nation is going to have pity for us. Like I said, when a brother gets shot out there, how many Koreans or Chinese do you see out there?
None.
How many Africans do you see out there?
None.
No.
How many Arabs do you see out there?
None.
How many white people do you see out there? That's not holding the camera or the microphone.
Come.
Or that's not holding the gun. You understand what I'm saying? None. Who's going to have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem? Who will have pity for us? No other nation has pity for us. Why do no other nation have pity for us? Because they know who we are.
Come.
We are of the 12 tribes of Israel. And they know as long as they keep us defiling ourselves, they know they'll stay on top. If other nations begin to pity us, and this is the problem too, right? We always ask, and I hear a lot of people always asking, well, why these other nations not coming to help us? Why they ain't doing nothing coming to help us? Why we can't go to the United Nations? Because if you go to the United Nations are going to reject you, just like the regular judicial system rejects you. Because everybody knows who you are but you. They know you are of the 12 tribes of Israel. They know that as long as we have you in captivity, the world will stay rich off of you.
Come.
The East Indians have built a market on selling our women hair. The Chinese people come over here and have made a market off of selling soul food, the very thing that's our hallmark. The East Indian came over here and made a market off of Dunkin' Donuts.
Come.
You understand that Arab has came over here and made a market off of chicken boxes. The African has came over here and made a market off of fake tapes and fake Nikes. You understand?
Come.
Everybody makes money off the 12 tribes, but the 12 tribes. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Everybody makes money off of us, but us. All right, go ahead.
What was that? Or who shall bemoan thee?
It says, or who shall bemoan thee? What does bemoan mean?
Moan.
Look at the word.
What does that have something to do? Like who's gonna cry or
There you go. Say it again.
like cry or
Give me the moment. Give me the word. Look at the word. Look at the word.
bemoan? But
Take the B off.
right. So it's like what cry or mourn or
There you go. That's it right there. Bemoan, to mourn. Who's going to mourn you? When we go out and we die in the middle of the street, who's mourning us? What other nation is mourning us? Who bemoans us? No other
nobody.
nation. Who cries for us? No other
No.
nation. Who is saddened by us being killed? No other nation. Everybody benefits off of us being destroyed. Everybody benefits off of us being under the foot of every other nation. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Every nation knows who we are, and they know they benefit as long as we are under their foot. What you got?
Oh no, I was telling you just 1 minute.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead, finish.
Or who shall go aside to ask how thou dost?
Read it loud again. Pick it up. Read it loud.
Or who shall go aside to ask thou doest?
How thou doest.
Doest.
How do you do? How are you? Are you okay? Is everything okay in your house? Is everything okay with your family? You understand what I'm saying? Listen to what it's saying. It says, or who shall go aside? Who shall pull you aside and ask you, hey, you all right, bro? Is everything all right with your family? Do you need something? Is everything okay?
Come.
Who asks how thou doest? You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Who will ask us that question? What nation of people will ask us that question? No nation will ask.
No, nobody. But we doing that for everybody else.
You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
And this is the reason why we being destroyed the way we are. They need us to be destroyed like this. You understand? Nobody's gonna mourn for us. Nobody's gonna care about what happens to us. Nobody's gonna moan or ask us, how are we? Are we okay? How's your family? You understand? We have to be in this position for them to keep a foothold over us. We have to be in this position for them to keep up with their riches. But if we gather ourselves together, oh, they should not desire. We become the head and they become the tail.
Come.
With that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Priest Officer. Who's coming up? Now, Walker. Come on. Priest Officer, now War, my big brother. Hey, next Monday. How many classes you do?
I do Sabbath.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK out of 1 West 125th Street, Halls, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to another brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi 3 and 8 through 10. It means 10th in Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'ashra. 1/10 of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give it to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation. I believe that is
That's Thursday. Thursday, October 1st.
Feast of
Tabernacle.
The Feast of Tabernacle. Thursday, October the 1st. This coming Thursday. Remind Akim and Akwafium to check on social media, such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, I'm going to give one courtesy to the teacher. Men of Israel. Amajah. Amajah Shabbat. Amajah. Barak.
How about Shimya Shabrakatah?
How about Shimmy Shabrakatah?
Guys from the top. Class dismissed.